If you think about the features society deems most beautiful in women, they usually include a tiny body, baby smooth wrinkle-free skin, a hairless body from the eyebrows down, a high cute voice, an accommodating, unthreatening, submissive behavior, and more. The perfect woman is always expected to look and act like a little girl. Aside from the rare genetic outliers, no adult woman possesses the face or body of a child. Not naturally, at least. Don't drag you through an entire video to get my point. In this video, we'll discuss the ways that we've allowed PDF files to influence much of life with our permission and many times our aid. At this point, we've all seen or at least heard of the Epstein files. We've all seen pictures of influential men, politicians, geniuses, billionaires parading around his island, undressed or begging with children. The question that won't let me sleep is why as a society we let things get this bad. And you're probably thinking that you personally have nothing to do with Epstein. But hear me out. Why was no one horrified back in 2001 when Trump joked that his good friend Jeffrey liked them young?
And Trump's comment to New York Magazine in 2002 stands out today. The president said this, quote, "I've known Jeff for 15 years. Terrific guy. He's a lot of fun to be with." It is even said that he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side. No doubt about it. Jeffrey enjoys his social life.
And why did we not throw him in the deepest, darkest dungeon when he proudly confessed to going into the Miss Universe changing rooms to look at women and young girls dressing for the contest?
I'll go backstage before a show.
Yes.
And everyone's getting dressed and ready. And I'm allowed to go in because I'm the owner of the pageant and therefore I'm inspecting it. Is everyone okay? You know, they're standing there with no clue. Is everybody okay? And you see these incredible looking women. And so I sort of get away with things like that.
Because let's face it, models start really young a lot of the time. So a lot of those Miss Universe contestants he was peeping at were children. There's one former contestant who's come out to speak about it. She was 18 folks.
Our first introduction to him was when we were at the dress rehearsal and half naked changing into our bikinis. To have the owner come waltzing in when we're naked or half naked in a very physically vulnerable position, and then to have the pressure of the people that work for him telling us to go fawn all over him, go walk up to him, talk to him, get his attention. Who do you complain to? He owns the pageant. So there's no one to complain to. Everyone there works for him.
Why is Trump still in office? Why was there not a worldwide revolt when R. Kelly married 14-year-old Aaliyah? When 26-year-old Jay-Z started talking to 16-year-old Beyoncé? When 32-year-old Diddy started dating 19-year-old Cassie? A lot of women and children would have been saved worlds of pain if we didn't let such things slide. And I know society likes to say girls grow up faster. This is a narrative that I believe was popularized by PDF files because if it were true, 16, 17, 18-year-olds would be talking about unit trust funds, stock market crashes, and work-life balance instead of prom. But they're interested in who's taking who to prom and honestly fascinating prom-related scandals, exactly like boys their age. Believe me, I have lots of nieces and nephews, so I've heard more about prom than I would like to at my age, but I understand that that's literally their life. I think the answer to the PDF file issue is that we're all to blame. Sorry if that sounds harsh, but I'm a blunt person and this is a very serious matter that we should not beat around the bush about. PDF files have amassed so much power and got themselves into influential positions from where they've normalized their creepy predilections and we've allowed it to happen. The signs of this are all around us. There's always been the stereotype of the rich, powerful man who loves chasing barely legal girls. We all make a joke about the fact that Leonardo DiCaprio dumps all of his girlfriends after they turn 25. But let's unpack that. Why is it normalized and considered a joke instead of being seen as there being something seriously wrong with DiCaprio? There's also the proliferation of con categories of barely 18, nubile, hot babe. That is sincerely gross and yes, it's the norm. The implication that female youth is arousing has become so normalized that we've been desensitized to it for so many years. There are grown men who will probably say that they don't like women with calves, that they don't like women with hips or thighs or stomachs. Men who want someone who's small enough for them to physically dominate, small enough to pick up. I remember that trend not that long ago. I think it was maybe last year when it was suddenly in on TikTok for short, tiny women show off their tall, huge, significant others. This is a trend that's also rampant in romantasy. Every romantasy book that comes out today has a 5 foot tall or even shorter main female character paired with a man the height and weight of Goliath. But what are the optics of this? A grown woman has curves. A grown woman has weight and shape. Sure, there are petite women and it's also normal. But tiny women literally show up in the children's section. Why would they be the standard? But to hear some of these men tell it is just a preference. Men, ask yourself what your preferences are rooted in. Society scrutinizes women for any sign that they are getting old. If you have a wrinkle, a little bit of grey hair, or a body that doesn't bounce back like you're a teenager, it's a problem. while older men with grey hair are seen as distinguished and confidently go on to date 20-year-olds and lower with no one shaming them.
I want to show people that it's possible for an older man in young Filipina could actually fall in love.
When we first met, I was just a young 56-year-old, and you were an old.
Yeah, I was 18 when I met Gary, but yeah, I did lie about my age.
As a woman, by our 30s, we get the cultural messaging that we're on the decline. I personally had to work on myself to not be bothered about turning 30. The internet is full of videos of people going on about how bones start creaking at 30. That is not even half of our current lifespan. And by 40, you might as well just disappear. You're damaged goods, old and worn out. And it's also considered taboo to ask a woman her age, especially if we are older than 25, because God forbid you develop mentally and physically. But why is asking for a woman's age bad etiquette? Why are we supposed to pretend like aging isn't happening? We've all had the age-old joke of the woman who lies about her age and she's forever 29 on every birthday. There's a female celebrity in my country who's been 25 since I was a child. We all joke about it, but why does she feel the need to do this? She's extremely beautiful still. Every minute, every second, and every day we're all getting older. It's universal. And yet, we as women are taught that we have to fear it, because the further we move away from girlhood, the less beautiful we are, I guess. Then the beauty industry steps in to help you sell on how you can mimic children. There's so many products to shave, wax, or laser away no more body hair. Some products promise the body hair will not grow back ever. Why do you think we need this? There's a reason we have that body hair though. It's actually relevant for our survival. We're told to slather on anti-aging creams and inject ourselves with Botox, even before we see a single wrinkle, because it's apparently preventative. Prevent what? Aging? Isn't that natural? We're told that if we use sunscreen, retinol, and antioxidants, we'll prevent sun damage. We're told to stay as thin as humanly possible. If calves creeping as a result of getting older, or maybe you've had children and now your stomach isn't as tight as it was when you were 16, then there are shape-well diet plans, or GLP-1s that you can take to fix that. Thing is, the companies that make these products and run these ads have CEOs and investors who paraded on Epstein Island or begged to be invited. All of these perceived flaws are just signs that you have entered adulthood. Signs that you've lived, signs that you've grown. But an entire economy thrives on women believing that adulthood itself is ugly. I have a large scar on my foot that I got from a horrible bike accident. Yes, I am the type of woman who will confidently walk into a bike shop and go out riding one. I personally have no problem with the scar because it's a sign, a reminder of my experience. But I met so many, especially women, who talked about it so horribly I was honestly shocked. I had many recommend so many scar removers and fascinating but damaging treatments that I never really bothered to get because I didn't get it. Don't we all have scars? Isn't it babies who have little to no scars because of their much better healing? Why is that a norm that's shoved down our throats? Who benefits when women with small scars think they need expensive treatments and creams to make their skins childlike? The anti-aging market makes tens of billions of dollars a year globally, and this number is set to increase over the years. All built on the promise that women have to reverse time. You need the Botox injections, and the wrinkle creams, and the facelifts, because aging is a disease that you have to cure. So many skincare and even makeup products have the words youth renewal, lift, tightening, not forgetting the recommended by a doctor catchphrase to legitimize the PDF-philic claims. All of these names, all of these words, these marketing terms, they all tell you that a woman getting older is something that needs to be medically treated and immediately done away with. And now we have an entire cult of young women who spend endless money, endless time trying to look as young as they can, all because we prize youth as the ultimate beauty ideal of desirability. Who could forget Britney Spears' 1998 Baby One More Time music video? The schoolgirl uniform outfit, the midriff exposing top, and the pigtails. The song was honestly catchy. I don't even know what it's about, but there's at least that going for it. But it also had the visual of a 16-year-old who was made to look provocative and innocent in a school setting. The song was a massive hit, so that image of Britney was permanently seared into the male gaze, and it launched a bajillion costumes with a schoolgirl aesthetic. Brands sold plaid miniskirts, tiny crop tops, and knee-high socks to grown women. But no one ever questioned why cosplaying as a schoolgirl was considered to be hot. A schoolgirl is an underage child. Why is that hot? Who brought up the idea of sexualizing children for this music video? Because it probably wasn't young Britney. This highlights just how many PDF files are in Hollywood. The 1962 film Lolita came long before Britney, and it was based on the novel of the same name. Lolita aged this seductive young girl into the public imagination. The name Lolita itself then became a shorthand for a seductive, attractive young girl, which should not even be a thing. And it's been so normalized that fashion items that are named Lolita are sold everywhere. And they're completely divorced from the whole of the original story, which was about a grown 40-something-year-old man getting with a 14-year-old. Predation of children should not ever be romanticized. In fact, it's widely believed that Vladimir Nabokov, the author of the Lolita novel in which the movie is based, experienced childhood essay, and that's what inspired him to write the book. Lolita should really never be romanticized or treated as an aesthetic. I don't know if you guys have heard of or remember Kat Von D's makeup line, Kat Von D Beauty. Some of the most popular products in the line were their matte lipsticks named things like Lolita and Underage Red. In retrospect, it was disgusting and it was one of the many scandals that led to the brand ultimately falling out of favor. But still, we ignored it. It wasn't questioned. And not only by the consumer, most importantly, it was not questioned by Sephora and the other major retailers who carried it. They marketed them and it only became a problem once the public backlash made it too financially inconvenient to ignore. Then there's the Love's Baby Soft ads of the past, which are honestly wild. I was literally gagging when I saw it. In 1974, Love's Baby Soft infamously released perfume ads with taglines reading, "Because innocence is sexier than you think." This again showed that being innocent, being youthful was one of the most alluring traits in a woman. There's one person nobody can resist, and that's a baby. So Love made Baby Soft with the innocent scent of a cuddly, clean baby that grew up very sexy. They sold bath foams, body lotions, body powder, and body mists. The works.
There's one person nobody can resist, and that's a baby. So Love made Baby Soft with the innocent scent of a cuddly, clean baby that grew up very sexy, informing bath, body lotion, body powder, and body mist.
But who made and benefited from these ads? Who pockets the billions received from sales of Lolita fashion? One might hope that we have evolved since then, and in some ways we have, but in other ways we have not. I think that the marketing just got a little bit slicker, but the messaging is still very much the same. They're not saying to be a sexy baby anymore. They're saying have glass skin, be a clean girl, have baby soft skin. Oh, you look at her, she's so snatched. And snatched always means tiny in all the right places. Same destination but with an updated route. When popular culture constantly blurs the line between desirability and girlhood, it's normalizing seeing childhood itself as attractive. If you look at the rise of coquette fashion, it's baby doll dresses, bows, ribbons. It's all soft, innocent styling that's meant to evoke fragility and childlike sweetness. Not to forget all those TikTok trends that romanticize girlhood. Girlhood equals desirability. Womanhood equals decline. And the infantilization of women and beauty standards is also global. In countries like Japan and South Korea, the concept of looking childlike as an adult woman is ingrained into expectations of femininity. Kawaii culture is where women dress like little girls in Lolita fashion. Grown Asian women are massively adored when they adopt high-pitched voices and act demure.
우와, 이 옷은 진짜 예쁘다. 근데 한국말 할 줄 알아? 뭐? 못한다고? 아, 노잼.
All to channel this childlike charm. There's even a term, buriko, which essentially means pretending to be naive like a child. While some women might say they enjoy this as a way to personally express themselves, it's undeniably a way to signal that you are girlish and sweet and submissive. South Korea has its own parallel in the K-pop and drama scene, where there is a concept known as aegyo. Basically, acting adorable and childish is encouraged as a trait for women to have. It's often seen in K-pop groups and reality shows, where you see grown women puffing their cheeks, doing baby talk, and generally performing the cute baby shtick. And they're always insanely thin and pale, because whiteness is also associated with innocence. And God forbid a 5'10" K-pop idol weighs more than 45 kilograms. Their companies literally measure idols every week and shame them when they gain even the slightest weight. Aren't children the ones supposed to be lightweight? Korean beauty trends popularized the idea of aegyo style, which is literally adding a little fat bulge under your eyes via makeup or even fillers, because it mimics the look of childlike puffiness to look like a baby, because that's considered to be attractive. And so there's essentially a feedback loop where our culture says that men prefer women that look tiny and cute and demure and wrinkle-free, have no signs of aging, and women in turn feel pressured to comply because relationships with men are sold to us as the goal at a young age, and we must look a certain way to enter these relationships. Industries capitalize on that pressure by selling products. And so when we see these Epstein files, we should be able to draw the parallel that a lot of our beauty standards are being made to cater to those rich horribles. Les Wax now, the billionaire former owner of the retail empire that owns brands like Victoria's Secret and Pink among others, recently appeared in those files and is being alleged as a co-conspirator. For decades, Victoria's Secret was one of the most powerful brands that promoted the very beauty ideal of ultra-thin, uniformly young women as the apex of desirability. And there have been rumors for the longest time that Wexner and Ghislaine Maxwell recruited young girls, promising them modeling careers, with their parents trusting that they were in the hands of a woman, only for the kids to end up on the island. So it's no surprise it's in the files. There are always rumors and conspiracy theories about these things that are pushed down and ignored for the longest time. So the very companies that sold the fantasy of youthful desirability had executives that were intimately connected with people who are preying on that fantasy in real life. And predatory ideas often arrive softened, aestheticized, and made to be cute and harmless. They show up as jokes in Family Guy and The Simpsons, as cosmetic trends, as costumes and pop culture references. Horror then gets laundered into aesthetics, and capitalism, consumerism, all these oppressive systems are great at turning horror, at turning violence into aesthetics, into branding. Because then you forget what the origin story is. You forget to be mad at those doing these despicable things. Because who takes Steve Griffin seriously? And predatory systems thrive on us believing that none of it matters. Because if everything is just entertainment, then nothing needs to be interrogated. Nothing needs to change. Just keep consuming. It's not that deep.
And this place gives me the creeps, like when I went to that pedophile opera.
We are proud to present Mozart's The Magic Flute, in A minor.
I think this has been going on for millennia. I think PDF files became leaders long ago just so they could normalize marrying off children. I know many will say that that was the norm back then, but why was it so? How did you get to the point of sending 8-year-old, 9-year-olds off to be brides? They are very tiny humans. How did you start to think of them as old enough to get pregnant? Unless there's a subset of creeps in our circles who knowingly present these ideas in a pretty, innocuous and even beneficial packaging. I mean, children are still being married off to make parents rich to this day, so it isn't just back then. Why are parents going straight to selling off their kids rather than doing literally anything else? They could become truckers or even smugglers, or start a small garden in their backyard to feed their families at the very least. But somehow marrying off their 9-year-old makes the most sense. Here's some advice for women. Embrace your natural voice, even if it's a little deeper. Having body hair doesn't make you less feminine. Understand shaving for comfort, but the possession of any body hair on your body should not be something we shame ourselves and others for, because many times abused people become abusers. We've all seen instances of victims horribly tearing down each other, but it's time to take a deep breath and practice showing ourselves and fellow women grace. It's time to accept that all those times we attacked other women, we were reacting from a place of abuse. That does not make you less, but it's crucial that we do the work. Having hair on your body is biological. It's just hair. It just makes you a human adult. Maybe on your 30th birthday, decide that you're not going to downplay it by making jokes that you're still 25 or 29. You don't need a 12-step skincare routine to combat aging. Nor do you need Botox and filler. Taking care of your skin is good, but please do not twist yourself into not trying to reclaim the younger version of yourself. The capitalist patriarchy wants you to believe the opposite because your insecurity is profitable. Every celebrity and their grandmother is becoming a billionaire from taking part in the beauty industry, preying on insecurities that were being made to internalize for centuries. But you're allowed to take up space and to use a big girl voice. And if your homepage is still made up of influencers constantly body checking, posting before and after weight loss pictures, or what I eat in a day videos, which are basically just D tutorials, you might want to unfollow that influencer. You cannot heal your relationship with your body or food if you're still consuming content that's making you have issues with it. Exhausted and isolated women who have been put down their whole lives resist less and compete with each other instead of organizing together. And capitalism benefits from us fighting each other. Divide and conquer and all that. We don't need more women competing over who best fits the little girl beauty standards. What we need is women who are able to think critically and to challenge power. Also, be careful about the man you date who requires that you shave till you're hairless and baby soft. He may just have internalized ideals that the powerful PDF files want us to internalize and normalize for their own safety. Or he may be on the dangerous side of things. Handle him with care and be absolutely certain before having a child with him. You might one day wake up to the horror of your child talking about how daddy came into their room last night. Or if they're too scared to say something, you might be shocked to hear years later that you are a neglectful and horrible mom because daddy did things to them and now your child no longer wants to have a relationship with you. Because you as a grown woman are not a baby and do not have the baby smooth coochie that he wants. But guess who does? If you're a man and you've ever suggested that your woman look like a child, or thought dating a much younger woman is best, have a meeting with yourself and ask yourself why you think a grown woman should look like this, or why you want young girls and not women who match your age, and maybe reconsider your stance. Because men playing into the narrative that billionaire PDF files have shoved down our throats and normalized makes sure it never ends. make sure children keep suffering horrors they should know nothing about. So, if you're a woman watching this, if you take nothing else away from this conversation, be a woman, not a little girl. Stop putting yourself down and stop twisting yourself in two knots to cater to beauty standards that are made to keep you weak, abused, and forever infantilized. It's one of the reasons I'm particularly mad at Blake Lively and her sham lawsuit. She turned moments of female power, moments of breastfeeding openly rather than breastfeeding in hiding like it's a shameful thing, into lies and bullying, which affects women's efforts to not be infantilized for PDF files, efforts to have our bodies accepted as normal the way we are, without having to squeeze into corsets or needing to painfully wax off body hair for the acceptable smooth look, efforts that multitudes of women have been fighting for centuries. I do not like women like her, but privileged a-holes will always be a-holes, regardless of gender. And be careful who you date, ladies, because these PDF files are everywhere and they rule the world. Men, please consider the optics of your choices too. The PDF file problem is something we can only tackle together because the causes are rooted in all of us, thanks to centuries of intentional billionaire marketing that has desensitized us to the wrongness of it. We need to stop this once and for all. And that, my friends, is all I've got for you today. I'd love to hear from you in the comments down below. I want to hear your thoughts about the pressures to look as young as possible. Have you ever found yourself buying product after product, trying to recapture your youth? What do you think? If you like this video, definitely give it a thumbs up. And if you really liked it and want to hear more of my thoughts, definitely hit that subscribe button. If you want to help support my work, please donate at my social buzz account in the description. You can contribute as little or as much as you can, honestly. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll talk to you all next time.
There is nothing more interesting to adult men than the development of an adolescent female. We are hardwired to recognize that.
You have the most adorable, pretty eyes. Do you have a boyfriend?
No, sir.
How about me?
There's a lot of sexual energy that is oozing out of that little girl. She can't possibly manage that kind of sexuality.
At the tender age of 10, Britney was already using her budding sexuality to attract an audience. But when the Star Search cameras turned on, Britney was transformed, pouring on a sexy southern charm the judges had never seen in a package so small.
She comes out in a very provocative gown with high heels, and all of a sudden that little girl knocks you right off your ass.